Hello and welcome to the Elephant and Bear podcast. This is a show dedicated to sharing interesting tales from around Coventry and Warwickshire. I'm your host, Neil Young, and in today's show we welcome Lorraine Checklin from Flourish Health and Wellbeing. Lorraine, please can you introduce yourself to the audience?
Yes, of course. Yes, thank you very much for inviting me along, Neil. Great to be here with you. Yes, I'm thrilled to be invited to speak about myself and also about Coventry. Having been born and bred in Coventry, got lots of special memories. So lovely to be here today and to be able to share that. As you know, my focus is around well-being and encouraging people to take care of themselves. And obviously, the more we can connect with our community and recognise all of the things that are on offer and to link up with other people, the better. So yeah, great to be here and to be able to talk about this.
Brilliant. Thanks for joining us today. Obviously, you mentioned there you were born in Coventry, Lorraine. So can you tell me some of your kind of early childhood memories of being a Coventrian?
Yeah, I've got lots of lovely memories, really, of going into Coventry Town Centre with my parents at a weekend, and back in the day when the centre was quite rural, I suppose. Really, there were lots of plants, and it was fairly traditional. You know, remember walking around the centre with my mum and dad. Remember Woolworths in the centre there, going to get my pick and mix. You know, on a Saturday afternoon, that was the highlight of the day. So yeah, lots of lovely memories of the town centre, and also of kind of growing up in Coventry and spending time at my nan's house. I'm one of, my nan was a nan of many, many grandchildren and looked after most of us, I think, throughout the summer holidays. So usually, in the 6 weeks of my holiday, there'd be about 10 or 12 of us in the back garden all playing together. I don't know how she did it now, having had my own family, but yeah, lovely memories of growing up in Coventry.
Yeah, fantastic. And I guess obviously, you know, thinking about Coventry town centre, it's changed a lot over the years. I always remember Coventry town centre being very busy on a Saturday, and there'd be queues at C&A and all these different shops as well. Was it the same for yourself?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, gosh, yes, C&A, that's definitely a blast from the past. I would definitely have visited there on a Saturday. Yeah, lots of people weren't there, and lots of hustle and bustle, and yeah, happy times with lots of families. Yeah, and it's a shame because I think we lost that for a period of time. Although I do think that we're starting to you know, have a lot more investment with city and culture and the great work that's been done there, and a lot of changes being made to encourage people to get back into the centre. And I think that would be lovely to see that going back to how it was.
Yeah, completely agree. I think the last couple of times I've been into the city centre, I've been surprised at how busy it was, because I think there was a period where it did seem to get noticeably quieter. Whereas now, you know, there are more people living in the city centre, and just busy more of the time, really, which is obviously fantastic. Obviously, it's been the City of Culture this year and going into next year as well. And we were talking just off air beforehand about the Mobos coming to Coventry. Have you been to any Coventry City of Culture events at all, or been involved in anything like that?
Choir of Man, which yeah, I've heard, you know, from many of my friends, was absolutely a brilliant evening. Unfortunately, I couldn't make the dates that they were going, but I heard some fabulous feedback around that, and I've been into the centre and kind of looked around at the area where they've had the stage and the different events, which is brilliant. And again, I think that work in terms of encouraging people to come back together and to be a community, I think that's the key thing. And obviously been massively impacted, haven't we, by the pandemic. So I think recovering from that and coming out of that and encouraging people to come together in that way is brilliant. Prior to the pandemic, attended quite a lot of the events at the Memorial Park, you know, the Godiva Festival, and I think it was BBC Radio 1 weekend as well. So I've enjoyed those sorts of events just on the outskirts, which have been fabulous. So it'd be lovely now, won't it, to be able to start planning and thinking about those types of things in the future.
Yeah, no, definitely. And if you were trying to kind of promote Coventry to people in the rest of the UK, maybe to come here for like a weekend or something, what do you think would be the must-do things, or the things that you would say to people to encourage them to visit?
Well, I think there's been a lot of investment, and I can certainly see, having gone into Coventry recently, some of the changes and some of the, the new restaurants, in Cathedral Lanes, I think are really beautiful. I was lucky enough also to attend an event at the Telegraph. Again, thinking back to childhood, remembering going into Coventry and going into the Telegraph office to put announcements in, for the family birthdays, etc.
Yeah.
So that was an important memory. And yeah, when I visited recently, I actually went to support an event that Surviving Bereavement were running. It was a balloon release at the top of the hotel there. So obviously now it's been converted into a beautiful hotel. And I hadn't realised until my visit, how beautiful it was and how they've tried to maintain quite a bit of the original, layout, etc. downstairs. So it was lovely. It was very much like a blast from the past, and it's certainly something I'd encourage people to visit and stay at if they haven't considered that already. And there's a lovely bar on the sort of the top floor overlooking the city as well, which is beautiful in the evening. So certainly a really good landmark and a good place to stay.
Yeah, definitely. I did a tour around the Telegraph Hotel recently, and like you say, everyone kind of remembers the reception where you go in and you, like I say, you put your classifieds in, but the rest of the building are preserved really well. And so I went into what was the previous boardroom of the Telegraph, and it just looks fantastic. It's a real blast from the past when local papers had budgets and
Yes,
were able
yes.
to spend the money on these things. So no, definitely kind of a big thumbs up for the work that's done at the Telegraph Hotel there. Okay, perfect. Obviously, Coventry and Warwickshire, there's lots of people, famous people that have come from Coventry and Warwickshire. Is there a particular person or that kind of you feel represents Coventry?
Well, there's a few things that I'd probably mention there. So as a child, I was an only one. I think my dad would have loved to have had a son as well. And because he didn't, I took up his sporting interests and would go to the football with him every Saturday. So I remember all of the kind of traditional footballers in Coventry and kind of the road to Wembley and going to different matches in the lead up to going to Wembley with him. So certainly, a lot of association with those footballers. And also the person that sort of springs to mind would be Lady Godiva. I was thinking about the centre and how it used to be, and the clock, and obviously the Lady Godiva statue and the significance of her and what she did for the people of Coventry. Certainly consider her to be a really good, strong female role model, and was somebody I thought about quite a bit as a teenager. And obviously every time you went into Coventry, if you happened to be in the centre when it was on the hour, you'd see the little Lady Godiva clock and her coming out and the peeping Tom, etc. So I think a fabulous story and something worth sharing with children and with families, perhaps for those that might not know about it.
Yeah, definitely. And I've spoken to people in the past, and they know the story of Lady Godiva, but often don't realise it's from Coventry. And it's famous worldwide, isn't it? And,
yes.
obviously, going back to the football as well. Coventry kind of climbing back up the table in the leagues slowly but surely as well after a number of years in the doldrums.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, my husband's an avid supporter, and he's always talking about that and listening to the matches. So yeah, definitely nice to see that improvement, and lovely, isn't it, to have the changes to the arena, what was Ricoh Arena, now the Coventry Building Society Arena. Some fabulous work being done there as well. So yeah, great to see those changes and those improvements that are being made.
Yeah, exactly. All those kind of events and things that bring more people to Coventry, and the more people that see it, the more they can see the changes that have happened, and the positive things that are happening in Coventry and Warwickshire now. So that's fantastic. Obviously, we've talked about the Telegraph Hotel there. We've talked about the Coventry Building Society Arena. Do you have any other recommendations for any hidden gems within Coventry and Warwickshire, Lorraine?
I think certainly sort of building that's very beautiful for those that might not have visited it before is St Mary's Guildhall. I was lucky enough to be invited to a wedding there prior to COVID, prior to the lockdown, and absolutely stunning, medieval building, and really special because it obviously wasn't affected by the Blitz, which, a lot of the centre of Coventry and those beautiful historic buildings, were, ruined as a result of the events of that time. So lovely to be able to see some history and to visit the building and have a look around it. And really beautiful inside, and, almost kind of makes your hair stand on end. I felt anyway when I was there, in terms of capturing that history and feeling like you're in that medieval building, and the fact that wasn't, knocked down as a result of the Blitz. So lovely place to visit, and I definitely recommend it.
Yeah, perfect. And obviously, for yourself, you a key believer in green spaces and how that can benefit your well-being. What would be the green spaces or the tranquil spaces within Coventry that you'd recommend people to visit to improve their well-being?
Yeah, I suppose a personal favourite would be Coombe Abbey. So I actually have moved to just outside of Coventry now, but grew up in the Wyking area, and later lived in Binley in Coventry. And so Coombe Abbey was a real favourite for my family, and spent many a day there with my daughter, walking around the park and feeding the ducks, etc. And again, it's a beautiful open space that can really be enjoyed whatever the weather. And more recently now with my pooch, with my dog, do often drive over to Coombe Abbey, to meet up with friends and family as well. So yes, very kind of unspoilt, and just a lovely place to be, depending on what you want to do, whether it's a day out in the sunshine or whether it's walking around the woods on an autumn day or, a crisp winter day. It doesn't really matter. I don't think what the weather is. It's got so much to offer and is a really nice space.
Please excuse this brief interruption. This podcast is made possible by Plan with Neil. Plan with Neil is an independent financial advisor from Coventry, helping people improve their financial well-being by supporting them with retirement planning, life insurance, and much more. Please check out the website planwithneil.com and book a free discovery session today. Now, back to the podcast. Yeah. I kind of regularly visit to Coombe, and we were so lucky to have an area like that just on our doorstep. Really, you go from the urban areas of Wyking and Binley, and then within 3 or 4 minutes you're suddenly walking around kind of Coombe Abbey, and because it is so big, there's so many different routes that you can take around the park, which is fantastic as well.
Definitely, yeah, lovely space. And then as a child, it was probably Crackley Wood, which I know is just outside of Coventry. But I had an aunt that lived in Kenilworth, so we would usually travel between Coventry and Kenilworth, and we'd visit Crackley Wood. And again, got some lovely memories there of spending time with my cousins, playing hide and seek, and being in that nice open space. So I think we're quite lucky. We've got quite a lot of lovely spaces on the doorstep.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously with Crackley Wood now as well, you can very easily get onto the Kenilworth Greenway, where you've got like this long path, which is perfect for little children learning to ride their bike, or runners, or I think you can get horses down there as well. So another kind of great space that we've got just on our doorstep. Is there anything that you miss from Coventry and Warwickshire's past, which you think it's a shame that that's not there anymore? Or
I don't know. I think I'm very much a believer that things change and things have to change, and they do change, don't they? And often, you might miss some things that were there before, but actually it's focusing on what the new things bring. And I think the perfect example of that would be the old and the new cathedral, where you've got a balance there of, the history, how it was, the impact of the war days, I suppose, the memories that holds, but also the newness of the new cathedral, and that sense of moving forward positively, and perhaps taking some of the memories of the past, but moving positively on and recognizing what new things and what change brings. So yes, I'm certainly of that mindset, and that's a particular favourite part of Coventry for me. That central part where you've got that balance of old and new. And again, remember some lovely trips out whilst I was at school, visiting the new cathedral and learning about the tapestry, etc. And being in the different parts and finding out what had happened to the people of Coventry. And again, I think that's something that's really key, is understanding the sacrifices that people made for us. and why therefore making the most of our lives is so important, and then the freedom that we now have that we perhaps didn't have previously.
Yeah, definitely. I think you're completely right in terms of that. You know, that positive kind of attitude, that positive approach with things about cherishing the old cathedral and things from our past, but also then looking forward to the future. If it's a new cathedral, and striking that balance between the old and the new. Which is often difficult to do in the built environment that
Yeah.
probably Coventry has struggled with in the past. But things such as what the Historic Coventry Trust are doing around preserving certain areas can make a big difference with all the new buildings also coming up.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's right. It's about preserving those. Well, as I said already, St Mary's Guildhall, beautiful as it is. And, I think that's getting some investment as well at the moment, which is good to see. But preserving that whilst recognising that, there is a need for change, isn't there? There is a need for new things and growth. And if we can get that balance and get that balance right, then, well, in my opinion, then all the better, really.
Yeah, no, fantastic. Well, what we're going to do now, Lorraine, is going to move on to some quick fire questions. So the first one is, apart from obviously Coventry, do you have a favourite Warwickshire town or village?
I absolutely love Stratford upon Avon. So again, lots of visits there as a child, being by the river with my family, walking about the town, taking picnics, enjoying really long summer days. The days just seem to last forever back then, and that's obviously a sign that I was a lot younger. But yeah, beautiful days out in Stratford upon Avon that I recall. So yeah, that will always have a special place in my heart, I suppose, because of those associations with my family and the lovely family days we had there.
Yeah, fantastic. The next question I had on the list, I think you already answered. It was Memorial Park or Coombe Abbey, and I think you've kind of already said how much you like Coombe Abbey. So you're going to stick with that answer?
Yeah, I mean, I love the Memorial Park as well. I think, again, that's a brilliant example of, getting to open space. 1 minute you're in the middle of a busy street, very urban, built up environment. The next thing you're in a beautiful park. So I do love the Memorial Park. I think it's just my association with, having taken my daughter there as a baby and as a young child up to Coombe. I think that's why it's perhaps more special for me personally. But yeah, I would certainly recommend them both.
Yeah, perfect. And if you had to choose between West Orchards or Cathedral Lanes, what would be your choice, Lorraine?
Oh gosh, that's a difficult one, because I like them both for different reasons. So West Orchards for the actual shopping, and as I say, the investment that's gone into developing and introducing the new restaurants in Cathedral Lane. So I think if it was for an evening out, it would be Cathedral Lanes. If it was shopping with my daughter, then West Orchards.
Yeah, I don't think. I think by about 5:30, West Orchards is pretty much closed, isn't it? So you're not
Yes,
going to have a very good
yeah.
night out in West
Yeah.
Orchards, trapped in the shops.
Yeah, that's me not being able to choose, you see, between shopping or a night out, because I love them both as much.
Perfect. Obviously, in terms of different events going on, two of the biggest in Coventry is the Godiva Festival, but there's also the Coventry Moto Fest. If you had to choose which one to go to for a weekend, which would you choose, Lorraine?
Do you know what? I think I've been to the Godiva Festival a few times, and I haven't been to Moto Fest, so it might be a good idea to try something new. I always think that's good as well, to branch out and do new things. So yeah, so I'm choosing Moto Fest on that one.
Okay, perfect. And if you had to choose between the Herbert Art Gallery or the Transport Museum, which would be your choice?
Probably again, wonderful. Herbert Art Gallery is wonderful, and when my daughter was studying art as part of a GCSEs, we visited a few times. So lovely, a lovely day out, and would recommend. But yeah, probably Transport Museum for me, just in terms of learning again about the history of Coventry and the contribution Coventry made to the motor industry. Again, special memories of family members that work for different factories in Coventry. So yeah, again, because of the family association, I'd probably choose Transport Museum on that one.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have got many people that they know or had worked at a factory of some sort, whether it's Peugeot or Jaguar or whatever, over the taxis over the years. So no, definitely.
Yeah, my dad was a tractor builder, so my dad worked at Massey Ferguson's for sort of over 25 years.
Oh,
so that's
yeah. Forgot about Massey Ferguson as well.
Yeah.
Actually, you forget there's so many kind of big manufacturing companies that have been in Coventry. You forget actually after a while, you kind of lose count of all the ones that were around.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but that one in particular. So whenever we're out and about in the field and we see a tractor, it's like, oh, let's look and see if it's a Massey Ferguson tractor. So some really nice special association with that.
Brilliant. No, fantastic. And I'm not sure if you're going to be able to choose on this one, but the old cathedral or the new cathedral?
Oh gosh, I'm doing sort of sitting on the fence a bit too much, aren't I? But yeah, because of what I explained, I think that's such a lovely balance, those two, but right next to each other, and reminding us of where we've come from and the history, but also the moving forward and the need for that and what that can bring. So I'd have to say that those two combined is what makes that part of Coventry so special from my own point of view. Because it reminds us of the past and leads us to the future as well. So sorry, I'm going to have to choose those both jointly, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll allow that.
Thank you.
I think it's very good as well that they're actually both next to each other, isn't it? They could have probably quite easily built the new cathedral somewhere different, but them next to each other and seeing those side by side is strengthens the meaning of the both of them as well.
Definitely, it's just really symbolic, isn't it, for that reason? So that for me is a really special part of Coventry, and I really couldn't choose between those two.
No, fantastic. I mean, that's kind of pretty much all we have time for on today's podcast, Lorraine. But where can people find out more about you, and what are the type of things that you do, and what services do you provide?
So I focus on wellbeing services. I work with individuals on a one-to-one basis, and I also work with organisations. So my background was working in HR for many years, and so a real passion of mine is supporting workplace wellbeing. You can find me at my website, which is www.waystoflourish.com, or I've obviously got a profile on LinkedIn and I'm on Facebook as well. So you can find me on there if anyone wants to find out a bit more about me and what I do. But yeah, it's been nice to be able to support mental health in the workplace. So I'm a mental health first aid instructor, and I've been delivering quite a lot of courses of late around that. And I think that's been particularly relevant because of the challenges of the last 20 months and how it's made people feel. So encouraging people to get that help and support, I think, is really important. And, I consider myself to be really privileged to be able to do the work I do. I absolutely love working with people and supporting their mental health. So yeah, that's what I do. And it's been lovely to have this conversation with you today, I suppose, and be reminded of my own history in Coventry and, all the things that have helped me over the years in terms of my family and my connections with others. So thank you for that, Neil. That's been really positive from my own point of view as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'd recommend people check out Lorraine's services. I think she's probably helped into the thousands of people in her various workshops and sessions over the years. Now that she's been doing it, so please check out Lorraine's website and check out her LinkedIn profile and connect with her through there. So, yeah, thank you very much for your time today, Lorraine. It's been lovely speaking to you, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Wonderful. Thanks, Neil. Absolute pleasure. Lovely to connect with you. Thanks for all the great questions, and look forward to catching up again.